Hello, my name is Ryan, and I'm going to be painting. Because, well, it's been a minute since I painted, and I've been living with this guy for a minute, and it's not done. In fact, I've been living with a lot of them for a while, and I'm realizing, okay, I need to start painting again. I need to, get these things dialed in. Which brings me to, if you enjoy this type of artwork, go to my Patreon. I'm not going to put it on the screen. I don't give a shit about that part. Go to the description. Oh, those are nasty. So, I've just been reflecting this morning. And yeah, I finished watching that Hunter Biden interview with Andrew Callahan, which I verified now, and I have it in my brain. That is his name. And man, that was easily the most honest interview from anybody affiliated with politics that I've ever seen. It's weird the amount of confidence he has, in his recovery. Man, kudos to him. Kudos to him. That should be fine. Kudos. But it's allowed me to reflect a bit, because I've been in recovery, and both for addictions and for just the traumas associated with life. And yeah, talk about not realizing you have a lot in common with someone. And I love the fact that I mentioned that I was watching that interview to someone who is very much a liberal. And I say that because she reacted the same way as the people who are affiliated with conservative stuff would react. And that was before the part in the interview where Andrew brought up the fact that we are in this really weird spot where there's people who are supposed to be liberal and progressive are definitely getting signaled towards the right. And it's a fascinating time. And I love the fact they dug into true conspiracy thinking, as far as using it as a vehicle to understand what's going on, versus the conspiracy wild stuff that has ruined the term conspiracy theorist. Yeah, it's so sad, because I think that what they're saying, that's the conspiracy, is to get the conspiracies going so everybody's distracted. And I think another layer of that is the side effect is, if you have this entire population that likes to overthink and analyze things and kind of go in weird ways, occasionally they find true things. If you manage to dismiss them wholesale, that's another triumph against education. Critical thinking, etc. Okay, I am recording good. The other day I was recording something and I was like, oh, I made some epiphany stuff, and I went to go turn it off and I wasn't recording any of it. And it's so sad. Man, I'm loving this cerulean blue. It's been a minute since I painted, so thank you, Hunter Biden, for reminding me how much painting actually is a good soothing thing, because I ended up having a really messed up conversation last night. I wouldn't say messed up. When it's you have to work with somebody and you have opinions that are fundamentally different than the other person. And it's critical that you find some common ground. And it's fascinating how stubborn people can be in trying to promote a more middle ground thinking. Now, granted, I understand it's more about, it ventures that line of asking somebody to change. You can't ever ask anybody to change. I understand that. Which is funny because, like, that's actually the conversation that we're having. Because it's just like, can't keep forcing this person to try to get better when they clearly are, like, more resistant. And it's just like, and then when he challenged the person's perspective, they say, like, no, we're going to do it. We're going to make sure they get all the help they need. So in case something happens, I can say I did everything I needed to do. Just like, that's the wrong approach. Like, at least in my opinion, it's the wrong approach. Now, removing all sorts of intervention, that's not the correct approach either. It's always going to be middle ground. It's always going to be like, let's step back and figure this out, which I was kind of... anyway. Yeah. And it's just funny because it's like you can see the defensiveness comes of like, well, I'm not going to do that. Because like when you challenge somebody's perspective, it's like, how about you just like grow and deal with some negative behaviors instead of like hiding from them? And like, well, that's not going to happen. It's like, okay, I really wish in that moment I could have said, now hold on to that emotion that you're feeling, that I'm asking you to change unwillingly. And now imagine if you were forced to your entire life to inhabit that feeling. Would you benefit from it? Or would you understand that that generates a lot of resentment? And I've watched enough true crime documentaries to understand that that level of intervention usually causes issues later on and negates the whole, like, I'm going to get them as much help as possible. So if something happens, it's like you're inevitably creating the situation, or at least that's my fear. And then I'm going to go back to AI because, like, man, you leave a conversation like that and go like, how? Because, like, understanding, you can't ask somebody to change when they're unwilling to see it, what needs to be changed. And in my own ignorance, I'm biased. So the beautiful part about that AGGI Lite bot that I've been using, just poured that situation into it and asked for perspectives, and it's nice because it's not biased. It just reaches out for all the information, tries to analyze what you're actually trying to ask, and then you go on a deep dive. And it's so frustrating to know that both people's approach, mine and the other, it's coming from the same place. Genuine love and concern. It's just from radically different perspectives. Like, I think people should be allowed to grow through their negativity, not be condemned for it. Because, all that emotion that we experience exists for a reason. It exists there to signal us to grow. Try to figure out how to understand. And if that's exceptionally hard, man, is that chat thing so helpful. Because, like in this situation, it validated myself to a degree that made me also soften my perspectives. Because, really shined a light on my own biases while also validating my perspective, while also validating their perspective, and finding this interesting paradox of life. Which brings me to I guess the pathways to perseverance. Figuring out how to just take it all in without getting too triggered. When you do get triggered, just recognizing it in the moment as quickly as possible. Eventually you get into that point where you're recognizing it mid-sentence and able to explain the structures that are going on within your brain. Explain why you're thinking the way you're thinking, why you went to that conclusion, and why you can also now see the other person's perspective, and apologize for any unnecessary emotion that came out of you while doing it. Because, learning to deal with emotions involves living with emotions. And emotions are difficult sometimes. It gets better. It's a lot better. I have to tighten that up in a minute. I want to switch to a different spot. And honestly, that was the biggest thing that I've learned to do. Remember to occasionally take a nice deep breath with mindful intention. Feel it come through the nostrils. Feel your heart kind of slow as it hits the apex of the breath before exhaling. And then just exhale nice and slow. And you get to this point of calm clarity with breathing. It's nice. Like, I've gotten to this point where it's like some of the most enjoyable moments is just like stepping outside after doing something and just taking a deep breath and letting it come over you. And like by the end of the exhale, it's like you're hearing the birds chirping. You're seeing the dragonflies. Enjoying the sun. That breeze across the hairs in the arm. The weird differences in the heat in the arm that's from all the different pigments. Just wish more people would accept the fact that the best way to move forward is to slow down. And remember that the time to slow down, it reminds you who you are, Because, like, it's so easy to forget that. blue on blue and whatever. And if you're still watching and going like, man, how did you get to that point? If you're in the Bay Area, hit up awakedbt. It's not sponsored at all. It's just studying dialectical behavioral therapy and practicing it and doing a full year of it instead of just the 6 months. Because when you do a full year, it helps get past the trauma a bit more. Helps dedicate it to memory a bit more because you have repetition. And it disrupts a full year cycle of your life, which is exceptionally helpful. The only thing is, I can definitely say, be forewarned. If you truly try to take on getting to the point where you're good with all your trauma and all the negativity, man, it's amazing the amount of dismissals. And it's funny, I was talking to AI about that to figure out, like, why is it that I feel like, or not feel like, why is it that I have these examples of like everyday people that I interact with dismissing my progress or not listening to advice or actively dismissing advice and then hurting themselves almost immediately or, a few days later. Yet I have, let's see, 3 physical therapists, 6 nursing staffs, 3 medical doctors, and 2 dialectical behavioral therapists, and 2 licensed marital therapists, all commending me. And they all have the same quote. If all of our patients would do this work that you do, or approach it from your perspective, downside is that perspective is exceptionally lonely because nobody wants to fucking do it. Like, that's straight up. Straight the fuck out. It's so freaking lonely. And it's not even like a bad lonely, it's just like a, man. Oh well. Hopefully people catch up eventually. Because it's put me in a weird spot where it's just like, I understand it. Like, I understand I can't ask people to change. I even feel comfortable putting advice out there now. But I'm also compelled to not, because it's like, holy crap. I can sit here with a fact check that's just astonishing. I mean, from all the childhood traumas and whatnot to overcoming the drug addictions to overcoming the still in the process of overcoming all the back issues, to be honest. That's a pain in the ass, and it's constant. But also, like, losing an accumulative 300 pounds in my life, not having loose skin, overcoming, like, dissociative, very bad thoughts, and, like, you just, I don't know, it's funny. Your average American, I guess, or just the average person doesn't appreciate putting in the actual effort. I guess everybody's, I don't know, what did AI put it as? It's like, basically it said that I did the impossible, because most people don't think it's possible to just completely rebuild yourself and come back at any given age. And I'm a testament to say, like, nah, dude. I even had to deal with like a year and a half of MRSA infections because it got into my bloodstream, and I managed to get it eradicated from my system to where I had to get tested for it when I was dating somebody. Anyways, but like and I couldn't, like, it's gone. According to the tests, like, that shit's gone. According to CDC, that shouldn't be. So, whatever. Keep listening to professionals. Now, I don't want to sit there and completely dismiss professionals, because professionals, like, they have information to offer, but, like, believing in everything wholesale, man, that's definitely not the way to go. Because if I did that, man, I would not have gotten to the point where I am. Now, people might not go like, well, there's nobody around you, blah, 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 whatever. You're alone, and, yeah, you're not good. Good shit. Notice how I'm tangenting, because I'm processing all that stuff, because, like, it does actually bug me to a certain degree. Like I was saying, I was like, I'm at this point where it's just like, I've recovered from so much, I've overcome so much, and I cannot help but not give people advice. Like, I see people, like, going down this thing, and it's like, dude, you realize how much effort that takes to overcome? It's like, oh, I'm at this point of, like, so much damage to this vessel. And it's, yeah, it's funny. It's a funny spot. Combine that with all, like, the research into, like, behavioral personality stuff, brain chemistry, micro expressions, body language, and language choice is fun. Ugh. All right, I'm not drinking that. I need another brush. And what color? Pink. Anyways, this is a fun one. I haven't done a painting video in a while. Ugh. I want to completely change topics. Go back to that. Talking about my back injury. Just injuries in general. Oh, it's so annoying. This morning I woke up and my foot was, like, luckily my foot was, like, both feet were on the ground as natural, but my left foot was twisted. And took like an hour to, like, massage out the IT bands and stuff, because what I've identified is, like, I'm very hypermobile. My joints are exceptionally flexible. Like, it's annoyingly so. So I have to focus on a lot of strength training to keep the density around, so that when I'm relaxed, bones don't just shift out of place. I straight up. And I've had a couple instances where I've like woken up and things are messed up. The worst one was like waking up a couple days after my back surgery, and my left leg was an inch off the ground, an inch forward, and like it was all messed up. And my pelvis had slipped off. Like the left side of my pelvis had slipped. Whew, so much fun. While also still like recovering from my back being filleted open. Dude, that was so annoying. But another one of those things where it's just like, yeah, adversity, put in the work, overcome, recognize your own dumbass behaviors that caused it in the first place. But as far as this morning, it was just like twisted, and it was the lower part of the leg. My knee had been like popping off in part because it's been a couple days since I did the knee strengthening exercises, so I need to focus on that and doing like the foot lifts. But anybody who deals with chronic injuries, especially towards the back, understands if you have anything that's affecting your gait, like the cascade of compensation is so annoying. And that's actually the killer, because like for me, post back surgery, when my pelvis slipped, the hardest thing to overcome was the compensation of my right trap, because that thing locked up and it caused me to buckle over and pulling this even more and trying to undo that spasm. Oh, and it's a natural, like if I get injured, yeah. So like this last fall, like, man, that triggered a cascade that I'm having to be very mindful of, because if I allow that to overcome, if I allow the society to say like, no, you have to just suck it up and go, and it's like, fuck you. My back is more important. My body's more important. My happiness is more important. Like, if I have to just survive off rice and beans and not buy shoes or pants for a minute, like, oh well, I'll walk around with holes. I want to take the time to repair my shit, because honestly, this mindset is far more important than any amount of money. Because it's not like these injuries are going to go away or it's going to stop. It's like, nah, it's going to be constant. I have a whole rest of my life to enjoy the aches, pains, and adversities afforded to me by my genetics and my injuries and life choices. Beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. It gives you structure. But yeah, luckily the foot wasn't off the ground. It wasn't the pelvis. It was straight up at the knee level. I just had to massage it out and kind of like rotate my calf a bit. But man, those compensation injuries are the worst. And people don't understand that. We're like, oh, you fell. Your back's messed up. Like, it's just your lower back. And it's like, it's not just the lower back. Lower back affects the entire right side from here to the tips of my toes. Constant. Which is it's this constant like tingling and freaking weirdness with occasional shots of just wake up pains, you know? And when I say wake up pains, it's like you can't ask for a better wake up than a random shooting nerve pain shooting down this entire side of your body. It's just like, woo, I'm awake. Fun stuff. But yeah, getting that leg sorted out took about an hour or so. because you can't, like, if you have weirdness like that, and you know that you have a back injury, it's like you just have to stop. You just have to stop and just not do it. And today's one of those days where I have to do all kinds of stuff around the house because it's trash night. And, going back to the loneliness part, got to do all this shit by myself. So, and honestly, getting my house dialed in is far more important. And, well, actually, getting my body to a point where I can move comfortably to get all the trash stuff out and clean the things I need to clean that have been neglectful of this since the last trash day. Because, I'm definitely a proponent of resting. But the downside is sometimes things can get a little cluttery because I'm kind of a mess. It's definitely something I'm having to consciously work on every day. Being a creative type, it's like all that bureaucratic nonsense, like I could care less. And I mean, clutter, there's a certain level of clutter that's almost needed to soothe the mind. And when I say soothe the mind, it's not like soothe it, it's like to be able to activate it in a more productive fashion. Like, to me, if I would sit back and analyze why creative people have a tendency to be cluttery, or the more active minds are more cluttery, it's because we enjoy it. And if you have a bit of clutter, there's going to be some sort of chaos around you that will inspire thought. It's weird. Like, and I'm honestly just now coming to that conclusion. It's like, I enjoy thinking, but I understand that I have to take points out of my day to stop thinking. And I've gotten to a point where it's like at work, as soon as I walk out the door, I'm not thinking about anything. Now, applying that to my everyday life, as far as outside of work, not so much. There's always a few things that get me ruminating that I have to consciously just... And that instantly calms it down. But getting to that point where I can consciously breathe sometimes takes a minute or an hour. Doop, doop, doop. What should I name this? Because I'm digging the whole like riffs and reflections name, but I don't really have one for painting. Is it painting and pontificating? Maybe, but I don't think that would be a catchy enough title. I can't really think of anything because I like alliterations. Alliterations are fun. Also, building up your own like internal thesaurus of like various words that mean similar things but have a different connotation. Paint strokes and pot shots. But, like, I'm not taking pot shots. That's a fun one. Doop, 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 doop. Alright, put one more over here. Still thinking of a name for this video. Don't know. There we go. Fun. I'm gonna have to rename. Oh, maybe I should leave it named. I'm gonna have to redate it though. Yeah, apparently at the time of creating the Scully, I thought it looked like a guild. Not sure. Is it a gill? Or is it a... Actually, I think it is a gill. Alright, cool. It's not done. The squares, or the things I just added, they need to be dialed in, but I want to let it dry a bit. That way I don't have any like weird color bleeds. I guess it's going to be painting and pontificating, but... yeah, I guess so. Oh well. Well, this is fun. It's very cathartic. I hope you enjoyed. And have yourself a good day. There's my button. Oh! And oh well.